What's up, everybody? So I wanted to make a different kind of video today. One of the things that I get a lot on social media, a lot of people that know me, they basically the first thing that they always say is, it's pretty cool that you're buying storage units. Got your own little storage wars things going. Then the next question that I tend to get is, how do I do that? How can I buy storage units? Because I see some of the stuff you find, and I want to find stuff like that. So I figured that I would throw together a video and basically walk you through how I got started, places I look for auctions, and how I put prices on things, how I sell things. When I'm looking at auctions, more or less what stands out to me and why, and how I put values on those things. So I just kind of walk you through and just kind of do basically a walkthrough video. So if anybody out there is looking to get into buying and selling storage units, this is a perfect video for you. So let's get started. So the first thing is, you want to buy storage units. How do you find them? Where do you go? Is there do you have to do them in person? I work during the week, so can I do it any other way? So since COVID-19, it's actually gotten a little bit different. There still are auctions that you can go to in person, but there's actually quite a few different websites that you can actually go to and basically bid on auctions. And those auctions are basically different kinds of units. Now, there's two types of auctions that you can do, like I said. There's in real life or in person. Those particular units, it's kind of like you see on the shows. You go there, there's a whole bunch of people, they open the doors, you look at the items, then you bid. Those are great, but unless you really know what you're doing, a lot of the times you end up finding that, A, you can't afford it because people that are there kind of all know each other, and it makes it a little bit hard to actually win on those units. So they tend to drive those prices up, or they tend to, do different things to try and get them from you. So the other issue with doing it in person is that you can't really look up and see what the items are on that unit. So since COVID-19, they started doing most of the auctions online. And that's actually good for you because you can kind of set your limits. You're not really pressured and rushed to bid in this unit. You got 2 minutes, and it makes it a little bit easier. The other thing that it does is, as you're looking at the unit, you can actually zoom in and you can see the things that are in that unit and kind of do comps and kind of see, this particular item might be worth this much and that particular item might be worth this much. And so it kind of gives you kind of a general idea of what you think you're going to get back, and you can do your research and actually bid a little bit easier and a little more informative. So that's more or less what this video is going to do. It's going to walk you through the online auctions and, basically how to do that. So there's a few different types of auction sites that you can basically go to. So, what sites do I use? So the primary one that I tend to find myself mostly on is called Storage Treasures. There's other sites like Storage Auctions, there's Bid13, there's Locker Fox. There's a new one that I'm working on basically called Storage Bids, and that particular one's going to be a little bit different. But there's a lot of different sites that you can basically use. So for this particular walkthrough, I'm going to focus on the top ones. Primarily the most common one, the one that has the most, auctions, is going to be Storage Treasures. So let's do that. Let's go through the actual video, and you can basically see here, you've got Storage Treasures, and that's at storagetreasures.com. Basically, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go to sign up, and you're going to be an auction buyer. So when you come here, you're going to fill out this form, and you're going to put all your information, and you're going to agree, and you're going to hit submit. Once you do that, the next thing that you're going to do is, once you get everything set up and you've got your credit card and your information on file and everything is ready to go, you're ready to start bidding. So you're going to come to the home page and you're going to put your zip code. So for this particular scenario, I'm going to put the Orlando zip code, and I'm willing to travel a maximum of, say, 150 miles for a storage unit. So here we're going to hit here. This is going to go out, it's going to search, and it's going to find basically the auctions that are near you. So this particular one is currently at $10. It's 8 hours, 7 minutes, and 30-something seconds away from ending. You can see that this particular one's going to have mattresses. It's going to have some, cabinets and different things. But if you click into the unit, you're going to see that here you've got graphics that basically show you what's in the unit. If you click right here, you've got the different graphics that you can basically walk through and see more or less what you're bidding on. So this particular unit is worth 10 bucks. Now, looking at this unit, the first thing is you can see that this is a non-lean unit and is a manager special. What does that mean? So there's two types of different auctions that you basically are going to run into. The first one is a lean unit. This means somebody rented the storage unit, they had all their stuff, they didn't pay their bill, and now their unit went up for auction. That means that nobody really knows what's in the unit, or is supposed to know what's in the unit, and it's basically a mystery, other than the original owner. The other type of auction that you can bid on is called a non-lean unit or a manager special. What this means is the storage facility itself is holding this auction. So it could be items from multiple units put into one. It could just be items that they are wanting to sell. So, you can basically fill it up with stuff that you don't want, and you can sell it as a manager special. I tend to stay away from manager special units because they've kind of already gone through everything. So you tend to find mostly the items that are non-valuable. Now, there are exceptions. There are people who purchase storage units and then resell those storage units, and they might leave some good stuff in there to try and drive the price up. Sometimes they get the prices they expect, sometimes they don't. So there are some units that I have bid on, and you start to kind of see the difference after a while. Some of them are mostly, storage units that the actual storage facilities are selling. And then you have some that'll say, storage facility or private sale by a particular person's name. Those particular ones tend to be individuals that are selling. So it just boils down to what you're looking for and what does the unit have. Okay? So I tend to kind of stay away from these. So let's go back and let's find an actual unit that is an actual, see right here where it says private seller J. Dan. This is an actual manager special, but it's an individual that is selling it, not the facility itself. If we keep going down and we look for a particular unit, so let's say this unit here. This unit is currently at $210. It's located in Lakeland, Florida, which is maybe about an hour from me. And it's a 5x10. It tells you that it looks like the unit contains a freezer, a washer and a dryer, boxes, totes, push dolly, and a suitcase. So right off the top, you know that a washer and dryer, you might get $50 to $100 for each piece. So depending on what the units are, of course, and you'll look at those in a minute. But it kind of gives you a general idea that you can sell a freezer for 30 to 40 bucks, a washer and a dryer for 50 to 100 bucks, and then whatever's in these things, could be anything, is basically where your money and your profit's going to be. So you know that right off the top, you've got maybe $150 to $200 right here. So if you were to get it for $210, your real gamble is going to be the $10. Now, of course, it depends on what's in the unit. So let's go into the actual unit itself, and you see here that we've got the pictures. So let's make the auction larger, and you're going to see here you've got totes, you've got some kind of lockbox right here that could be anything. It could be money, it could be guns, it could be, papers, it could be anything. But what you're looking for is, can I get my money out of the things that stand out, and then with what isn't standing out, can I get my extra gravy? So looking in here, you see that the washer or dryer are going to be simple white units. They're not front facing. So those you're probably going to get $25 to $50 per unit. So that brought your potential down. So now you're at about $100, maybe $150 between the freezer and the washer and dryer. So that leaves you at, 50, 60, let's say $100. And will I make my money? Next picture here, you've got some other things. So, you see a lot of Christmas stuff, which is really hard to sell. You see a lot of different totes that contain a lot of different things. And, it's kind of generally in vague. So you don't really know what's in the unit for this particular one because it's such a small unit. Okay? I personally wouldn't go more than 200 on this unit. So at this point, this unit would be off my plate and I wouldn't want anything to do with it. Going down to the next unit, let's just say. let's look at this one. So this one is in the same location, Lakeland, and it's at $100. So you see that there's quite a bit of stuff in this unit, and this unit tends to be basically a small unit, so a 6 by 7. So 6 foot by 7 foot. First thing you see is a Toshiba TV. So if it's 6 foot this way and 7 foot deep, you know that this is going to be basically maybe a 4 or 5 foot TV. So it might be a 55 inch or 50 inch. So you might get about $50 for that. But you can't really see what else is in this unit. It's all kind of just all together. So this once again is a unit that you're kind of going to be gambling on and kind of hoping that you're going to make your money back. But, you know, it just boils down to what you're looking for. If we keep going, then let's find another unit here. Let's look at this one. So this one's in Orlando. It's closer to me. It's a 10 by 15, and it's currently at $610. So this particular unit looks like it has rifles. It looks like it has fans, dishware, pillows, blankets, and sports equipment, toys, an entertainment center. So it looks like it has more bigger items. So you see the TV right here. You see the washer and dryer. We see that they have some games. Okay. One thing to stand out for me is they have pop collectibles, which means that this particular unit could have other collectibles. Okay. Now, on a personal level for me, they also have a rack, which I could use for other things that isn't necessarily just for reselling. Here they have, that looks like maybe a Roomba, a vacuum, and then they've got a vacuum cleaner. TV looks in decent shape. It doesn't look cracked. There's a container here, a washer, a fan. There's some kind of workout equipment in the back. So you can kind of get a feel for what this unit's worth. The other cool thing about this unit is that there is a dolly. So if you were to get this unit, you'd have the ability to move all that stuff out because you'd have a dolly. So that kind of gives you a general idea. So that's one particular site. The other site that I use is this one here, which is storageauctions.com. This one's a little bit different. So let's put the zip code in again. Let's put the radius and say 120 miles is the most I'll go. And then I'll hit search. So this is going to give me a little bit more information. So I see how long I have for the unit, where it's at, how much money. I see that some are climate controlled and some are not climate controlled. And I see that the sizes of the units. Okay. Now what's the difference between climate controlled and not climate controlled? A non-climate controlled is basically just a little piece of space that you're renting outside, and some of your items might get too hot, or some of your items might rust, or things along those lines. Climate controlled means that it's inside, it's in the AC, and your items inside are going to be better maintained as long as you have that unit there. So if you've got things that rust outside, bicycles or washer and dryers, if you can find them inside climate controlled, you tend to get better results because, again, they're not exposed to the elements. So it just boils down to what it is that you're looking for once again and what you're thinking of reselling. Okay, so let's look at, trying to find a good one for you here. Let's look at this one. So this particular one is 73 miles away from me. Now this particular site works a little bit different. So in the other one, if you remember, you have to click on the little thing and move the images. For this particular one, they give you like a little block, and you can basically zoom that little block in and out. Now, quality-wise of the pictures, it's worse because you can't really see as well as you could on the other side. But you can kind of get a general feel. So you can see the boxes. You can look to see if there's any writing on those boxes. You might find a box that says, you know, video games or electronics or, you know, bedroom, living room. What you're basically looking for a lot of the times is this a home unit? Somebody who moved out of their house and they put all their stuff? Is this an office or a restaurant or, things along those lines? So it just boils down to what you're looking to resell and what you think you can basically flip quicker. Okay? And let's find another unit that has something else. Let's go for this one. So this one here has, electronics. It's got a radio. It's got, looks like some kind of cable boxes or things along those lines. A step ladder. This here looks like maybe, some kind of wardrobe or something. You got toilet tissue, Now, what do you see there? Xbox controller. So that means that this unit might have video games. So if you can get it at $10, an example, that controller, if you were to sell it, you're going to get at least $10. So if you could make your money back just with this controller, then the rest of the unit is free and it becomes all profit. Now, I don't see the video game in here, but I do see like boards and stuff like that, so it might be in there. Some other things to look at here is this unit has a mattress. Mattresses are one of the few things that you cannot sell and get rid of in any way, shape, or form. Now, what does this mean to you? It means that when you bid on this unit, you automatically know that you're going to have a mattress that you're going to have to throw away. Now, if you live in a home and you've got garbage pickup and you can put it outside on the curb and they'll take it for you, not a big deal. If that doesn't happen, you're going to need to take this mattress to the dump. What does that mean for you? It means you're going to have to pay a fee to get rid of the mattress. So this particular unit just went from being $10 to whatever the dump fee is on top of that $10. Here in Orlando, a dump run for a full trailer is going to be about $85. So this unit just became a $95 unit plus whatever fees and other things, which we'll get into in a bit. So, at $10, this particular unit is, it might be good, it might not be good. Now, one thing I do see in this unit right here is this pallet dolly. These particular dollies tend to go for a couple $100 if they're in working condition, used. So, $10, I'm going to go ahead and bid on it. So it's 10 by 10. I'm going to go ahead and hit bid now. And this is basically to show you how it works. So when you hit on this particular website, you've got two methods of bidding. The first one is you can set an actual bid amount outright. So if I write $40 here and I hit this, the automatic auction is going to go from $10 to $40, no exceptions. This one here is bid by proxy. So what this means is I'm going to bid $40, I'm going to hit set, and I'm going to hit go. What this means is that right now, I am bidding on this unit. I am currently winning this unit for $10. If somebody was to come in and bid $20, I'm still going to be winning the unit. If they bid $30, I am still going to be winning the unit. If they bid $40, I am still going to be winning the unit. If they bid $50, then I'm not winning the unit any longer. So it's basically bid in my absence up to this amount. Okay? Now, once all of that's done, a couple of things that you need to look at here. So for this particular one, here's all the different things that we kind of saw. And all bids on the sites are usually in $10 increments, which means you can't bid $11. You have to bid $20. You have to bid $30, etc. There's also each individual site is going to have a different type of membership fee or a auction fee that you're going to pay. So most sites charge you a 15%. So if you bid $100, they're going to charge you $15 on top of whatever your bid was. And that is a fee that goes to the actual auction website. And that's what they use to keep the lights on and to basically run the site. Now, some sites offer you the ability to become a member, in particular storage auctions and storage treasures, and you basically pay $10 a month And what that does is it makes that fee go from 15% to 10%. If you're buying one storage unit, one off, just to see if you like it, don't become a member. Just bid on it, pay the 15%, and be done with it. If you're going to buy multiple units, or you're going to buy an expensive unit, then become a member because you're going to save money. The idea behind it is it costs you $10 a month. If the 5% difference is greater than that $10 a month, go ahead and become a member. You really don't get any other benefits other than that. Okay? Now, a couple of other sites that exist is LockerFox. This one's a little bit smaller. Their auctions tend to be kind of random and kind of broad. So like you can see here, it goes from 3 days to 7 days to 24 days. So there's one auction once in a while. It's definitely a site you want to check out once in a while, but it's not really a money maker or anything. Now, there are some good ones here. So you'll see this one's 24 days away, and this one's at $280. Now, if we look at it, we open this up, you're going to see that this particular unit has a lot of good stuff. So at $280, it definitely makes sense to buy this unit. Okay? Now, you've got an exercise machine, you've got all these shelves, which the shelves are worth about 40 bucks a pop. You've got a lot of games and a lot of different, sellable things. These little 3-ton jacks are 20, 30 bucks. These, jacks right here are going to be about 20, 30 bucks. You've got a moving cart. You've got a Michael Jordan Air box, different types of shoes. So Jordans. You've got rollerblades. You've got some New York Yankee stuff. You've got a bunk bed with steps. So you can see, here's all the material for it, and here's the bunk bed itself. I don't know if it's complete, but that's the gamble. You've got a laptop, you've got a PlayStation 3, you've got PlayStation 3 games. So this table alone, you're going to make 100, 150 bucks, depending on the laptop. It looks like an Acer. You got your exercise machines, you've got your weights, for all your lifting and stuff like that. You've got some tables. So there's a lot of good items in this particular unit. This unit, when I look at it, it looks to me like it's a reseller who is basically struggling to sell his stuff, or maybe going through some life crisis or something along those lines and isn't able to pay for the unit. Now, that doesn't mean that there's not good stuff in here. It just means that maybe, he just went through something. Maybe he lost his regular job and can't afford it, So there's money to be made in this particular unit if you basically could flip it in the correct manner. Now, LockerFox, this particular site, doesn't charge a membership fee. They basically always charge basically the same thing. So it's always the 10% and a $10 minimum, and there is no membership fee. So they don't go 10, 15, they just basically charge that. Now there's another website here, which is selfstorageauction.com, and all of these links will be down in the description, so don't stress out. This particular site is a little bit larger. It's not as big as Storage Treasures or Storage Auctions, but it's somewhere around there. So this particular one has a lot of different auctions for a lot of different things. So let's look at this one here. So this one has 5 days, 13 hours, 18 minutes, and 16 seconds to go. If I click view the auction, you can basically see that in this particular unit, there is all kinds of stuff. You've got audio equipment, you've got boxes, you've got, even down to water bottles. I mean, there's literally all kinds of stuff in here. A refrigerator door. Then if you look at the top of this picture, I mean, it goes all the way in. You've got shelves, you've got boxes. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in this unit. The unit size itself is a 10 by 20, so it's one of the larger units. So you have to understand that, that's a lot of stuff for you to get out of the unit. So it just boils down to how you want to work it. And then the other site, which, like I said, we're working on building, is storagebids.com. Hopefully this will be out soon. There's a lot of things that are going on behind the scenes. Okay? So that basically gives you kind of a general idea of the different websites and the different ways to bid. Now, there's a couple of things to keep in mind. Okay? With each auction and with each facility, there's different rules. So you have to make sure that you read the descriptions and you read the information. What do I mean by this? Some facilities will give you an access code, for example, and you have either 48 hours or 72 hours or some kind of time limit to go in and get the stuff out. Some facilities will not give you a code and you have to come and do it between their office hours. So if you work a 9 to 5 job and you want to do this, you need to look for units that allow you to come and do it in the evening. Can't do it during the day unless you come in for your lunch break or something along those lines. Each individual facility is going to charge you a cleaning fee deposit. What that means is you're going to put, if your winning bid was $100, and then you have a $10 10% fee, it is now $110. And then on top of that, you have to put a $100 deposit in cash that you give to the facility. And I'll explain kind of the entire process of what happens after I win later, but I'm just giving you a general idea. Now, what that means is you're going to put that deposit down, and then when you're done, if you get all your stuff out in a timely manner, so within your 48 hours or 72 hours, you get that deposit in cash back. Okay? If you go and get all the good stuff and then disappear and leave all the other stuff there, they will keep your deposit and you will lose it and forfeit it. You'll also get bad feedback and you'll probably never be able to buy or bid from that facility again. Okay? Couple of things to keep in mind. Okay? So now you know where to bid and you know what to look for in an auction. The next thing that I get asked quite a bit is, how do you put value on things? How do you know what's worth what? So, I look at a particular unit, and the more you do this, the more you kind of tend to know general idea of values and stuff like that. But the easiest and best way that I have found to put value on things is to use eBay. Okay? So you could come into eBay and say, for example, you find a Samsung 9 phone. Okay? And on the back of the phone, it'll say Samsung and it'll give you information about the phone. So you can kind of see what people are asking for these particular items. But there's a better way. If you click on Advanced and you click on Sold Listings and you hit Search, it'll actually show you in green what the items actually sold for. So that kind of gives you a general idea. Anybody can ask for anything. I can put an iPhone 12 Plus Max, whatever, and say I want $10,000. Doesn't mean that that's worth that. It means that that's what I'm asking. But I have the ability with an eBay to basically put an actual value depending on what you see right here. So I can see, and I can scroll down and see basically that the average item was selling between 90 and 60 and 138. And then the differences are, this one's unlocked, this one's only a Verizon phone, this one's only a Boost Mobile. So if you can validate that the phone you found is unlocked, you know you're going to get more. Now what happens if, say, for example, it has a cracked screen? Then the amounts go down, but you can still see that one with a cracked screen, you're still going to be able to sell it for 60, 70, 50. So it kind of gives you a general idea. So if you're looking through a unit and you see that there is this, you know that you're going to get at least 50, 60, 70 bucks. And if the auction's at 20 bucks, you know you're already going to make profit off of that particular unit. And you can search for pretty much anything. It's not just, electronics. You can search for, let's say, for example, you see a TV or you see, clothing. Let's say you saw Jordans like we saw in that unit. You can see basically different types of shoes. Now, the more granular and the more you can get in detail, of course, the better your pricing is going to be. But you can type in Jordans and you can scroll down and see if you see that particular shoe. It all depends on how much time you want to spend, but you can see that some of these Jordans are going for ridiculous amounts and people are paying for it. So if you can find a pair of Jordans that is nice, for a unit that's $100 and it sells for $300, $400, $500, $600, it's a no-brainer. It just boils down to, once again, what do you feel comfortable spending, and how much are you going to apply yourself to reselling the items? Okay? Now, there's other places that you can actually sell your stuff at. eBay tends to be an easy place that you can go and list items. Now, eBay is one place that you can sell your items. Poshmark is basically a really cool site where you can sell clothing, you can sell shoes. It's kind of higher end brands, but you tend to find a lot of these things in those units. As long as they're not stained and, things that you would just throw away, you definitely can get money for them. If we go in here and you look at Nikes, for example, you see that they're selling a hoodie, or that they're selling, shirts and shoes and all kinds of different things. And that's literally the prices that people are paying for these particular items. So, I tend to kind of donate most of the clothing because I don't have time to go and take 100 pictures of, 100 different outfits and post them online. But if you're into clothing, that might be what you want to sell. So at the end of the day, it basically boils down to, what is it that you're comfortable selling? What is it that you're comfortable, or what is it you're knowledgeable about? Now, some other places that I tend to sell a lot of items, especially heavier items or larger items, things that I don't necessarily want to ship, I tend to use a lot of Facebook Marketplace. Now, the thing about Facebook Marketplace is that you might get 100 responses and only one person is actually serious. So, it just depends on how much time you want to spend in it and how much effort you want to apply. But it also depends on your pricing. They tend to want better deals because they're having to drive to you, as opposed to you shipping it to them. Now, you can offer shipping, but the whole purpose of me selling on Facebook was so that I wouldn't have to ship it. So it just boils down to what makes it easier for you. I sell on Craigslist. There's probably 100 different apps that you can sell them, but I tend to stay within those 4. eBay is for the majority of my items. Poshmark is basically for clothing, high-end clothing, things I find along those lines. And then Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist is going to be more I really don't want to put this in a box and ship it because it's too heavy, or, it's going to cost too much. Shipping is expensive. So the one good thing about eBay I will throw out there is that when it comes to shipping, eBay gives you amazing prices in shipping costs. They actually give you amazing discounts. So you always want to, don't necessarily just go over to the post office and say, I want to ship this, because you're going to pay more. If you use the eBay site and you print out their actual labels, you tend to get a much better deal that ends up making you a little bit of money on shipping. So, but that's basically it. I mean, the main thing is, go to one of these websites, register, put in your information, your credit card, sign up, and then start looking through the auctions in your area. There's a lot of people that I know that don't necessarily want to resell. They might just be looking for furniture that they want to put in their house. You might need a couch, or you might need a dresser, and you don't want to go spend $600 on a brand new one. So you can find some really good deals and then keep the stuff for yourself. Then you don't have to worry about reselling. You don't have to worry about any of that. All right, so you won an auction. You found the perfect one. You're all excited. Now what happens? All right, so let's say you won an auction for $100. Okay? The auction ends. The actual site says you won. They charge you either 10 or 15% processing fee. Okay? That's going to happen automatically on your credit card. And then you're going to get an invoice in your email. That particular invoice is going to basically outline what auction you won, at what facility, and what your charges have been and are basically pending at the facility. What I tend to do, and the best thing to do, is at that point, call the facility. Call them up and say, hi, my name is so-and-so. I won an auction on storage treasures. They'll say, thank you for your bid, or they might, something along those lines, and then they're going to say, when would you like to come and get it? schedule an appointment to go in and pick up your stuff. Don't just show up at the facility. Now you can. Some facilities don't care. Some facilities do. So I tend to basically confirm it and, put it out there that, I'm looking to come in and get my stuff, basically. Now, something to keep in mind is that from the moment you win the auction to the moment you show up and pay for the auction, once you exchange that money, up until that point, it is still not your unit. The original owner of that unit can come in and make a payment to get their account caught up and get their unit back. At that point, the facility cancels the storage auction, refunds you the fees that you paid, and it's like it never happened. Now, the reality is that most of the individuals that own these units don't generally pay for those units at the last minute. What happens is, if you bid $100, those facilities will contact those people and say, so your unit sold at auction for $100. You owe us X amount of dollars. If you'd like, we can work out a deal. You pay X amount of dollars and we'll give you your unit back and cancel the auction. Most people are desperate because they want to get their stuff back, so they'll pay that fee. So storage facilities use it as a way, a lot of the times they use these auctions as a way to try and collect those fees back. Okay? So the moral of that story is if you have found a storage unit that you really want, attempt or go and pay that fee as quickly as possible, because once they accept your money, they can no longer, by law, give that unit back to the actual owner. Okay? That's just how it works. Now, there might be exceptions in other places of the country, but where I'm at, and in most places I've looked at, that's basically how it works. Okay? So now, you called, you scheduled, you drive into the facility. Okay? Now, what do you expect? So, if we look at this particular site, let's say this particular item here, you're going to see that there's a cleaning deposit of $100. Okay? So, right off the top, you're going to need $100, usually in cash, on top of your winning bid. Okay? So, let's say we got this auction for $610 and we had won. The first thing is there's a 6.5% tax on this particular unit. Now, one thing you can do, which I do, is you can get a tax-exempt certificate. And what that means is that I am going to be reselling these items. So in the state of Florida, I get a tax-exempt certificate. So when I go to the facility, this 6.5% does not apply to me. They will not charge me this. So my fee is basically going to be $610 plus my cleaning deposit. The 10% happens behind the scenes. It happens at the beginning of the process, and therefore I never see it until I look at final numbers. But in this scenario, I know that to pick up this unit, it's going to cost me $610 plus the $100 cleaning deposit, which means I need $710 before I can step into that unit. Payment options will either say cash or they will say credit card. If it says cash, don't show up with a credit card. They will not honor that. You will need to go get cash. So make sure you bring cash. If it says credit card, I usually get the cash deposit or the cleaning deposit in cash unless the actual auction says that it has to be paid by credit card. And the reason being is it's much easier for me to pay them a $100 deposit in cash, clean out the unit, and get my money back. If I put it on a card, it's going to take 5 to 7 days to get it back. Okay? So, generally I show up at that facility with at least $100 in cash or whatever the cleaning deposit is. And if this is a credit card, I might put it on my debit card or credit card. I usually tend to prefer to just show up with cash for the entire amount. When you get the actual invoice, it will tell you what amount you have due, and then whatever that is, you will need to add the cleaning deposit. Okay? Now, you show up to the facility, you pay the fee. Once all of that is done and they get your ID and they get all the information, they're going to walk you over to the unit. They unlock their lock, and then there's another little tag, a lock tag, that should be part of the unit. Okay? Now, the auctioneers are supposed to, or the actual facility owners, when they make these listings, are supposed to show you a picture of that lock. The lock itself is going to have a numerical value, as you can see right here, that is going to basically tell you that when they closed this unit, that particular lock was put in place. And it has to be broken to be taken out. When you go pay for the unit, make sure to ask to view that lock. And then compare that number to the actual item that you're basically posting. Why do you do this? This ensures that they're not going after they've taken the pictures into that unit and taking stuff out. Or that the original person who owned the unit paid a fee after the fact to get their stuff out. Okay? That just basically is a security features that you need to basically check to ensure that you're actually getting what you bid on. Okay? Now, they take their lock off, everything's ready to go, the door opens up, now it's your stuff. 100% belongs to you. How do you get it out? You can have a trailer, you can have a truck. If you have a car, you can just fill it up, put your own lock on the unit, leave, come back, and continue to do that cycle until you get everything out. Once everything is out of the unit, sweep it out, clean it up, take a picture of it, and then go to the front office and say, I am done with unit ABC, and I'm here for my deposit. Show them a picture that the actual unit is cleaned, and then you'll get your deposit back in cash. And at that point, you're ready to go. Okay, so once all of this is done, you're basically ready to go. Now, the main thing to take away from this video is always check your log tags. Okay, your log tags are the way that you're going to make sure that nobody's been in the unit since they've taken the pictures. There are facilities that will, for a fee, let that person come in and get their important stuff, or they might come in and say, there's really some really personal, real important that I need to get out of the unit. Who's to know that he or she is not going to basically take all the big, heavy, expensive stuff out and leave you basically with the trash. It does happen, and the only way that you can ensure is that nobody's been there is by checking those log tags. If you do go into a particular unit and that doesn't look exactly like the pictures that are online, don't go through the unit. Don't start getting stuff out or moving, or, stop right there, take a picture of it. Tell the facility, this is not what I bid on. Show them a picture of the auction, show them a picture of what it looks like right now, show them the differences and say, I want my money back. This isn't going to work. If they refuse, call wherever it is you bid on that unit. Storage Treasure, Storage Auctions. Let them know that the unit is not the way that it was pictured and that you want a refund for that auction. But if you start going through stuff, you forfeit that right. At that point, you got to keep the unit. Now, the biggest reason why you want to do that is because if you bid on something expecting that these 2 or 3 items were going to be there and you're going to get your money back, and now they're not there anymore, now it's a complete gamble. The other thing is you want to keep these facilities honest because they're trying to make as much money as possible, and most of them aren't very truthful with the situation. They're going to do what they're going to need to do. It's business. Okay? Now, the other main reason is also a lot of the times they'll sell a unit. An individual will come, they'll buy the unit, they'll take all the good stuff or the stuff that they want, and they'll leave. They'll forfeit their deposit and the items will basically stay there. What they're supposed to do is clean these units out and get rid of them. And that's the purpose of the deposit. What most facilities tend to do is post that unit back on for auction. But they won't change the pictures. They'll leave the pictures the way that they were in the first auction, and that's what you're expecting to find. But the reality is that somebody's already picked that unit, and you have absolutely no idea what's left. So it's more of a protection thing for yourself. It's something that you definitely don't want to, if it's not what you bid on, you don't have to take it. You don't have to pay for it. You will get your fees back. You will get your money back one way or the other. Most of these facilities don't want to risk the chance of not being able to do more auctions. So most of them will honor it, and they will basically just put it up for auction again. But it ensures and it protects you as a buyer, and it's something that you definitely want to take advantage of because, once again, if they're going to do it to you, you need to do it to them. It's business. Okay? So in closing, I hope this video was useful. If you have questions, drop them down in the comments. I'll definitely do my best to answer them. I will try and put everything that I basically outlined as part of the description of the video. And, if you can, I really would appreciate subscribe, a like, comments, share. The general premise or the purpose of this video is to try and help out a lot of people that have been asking me how to do this and kind of giving them a general idea of how I get this process done and the things I look for. And so I really hope this video helped. Again, if you have questions or, if you need help through the process, feel free to message me. I'm always willing to help. There's a lot of different groups and a lot of different people online that you can basically see and talk to, and most of them will help and they will answer questions. So, don't lose nothing by asking. But definitely, drop me a note, drop me a message, and I will do my best to help however I can. But thanks for watching. And like I said, a little different video, but I'm going to be finishing up the hoarder unit this weekend. And hopefully have the third and final video out before Monday. So we'll see what happens. Thanks for watching.